it blows your socks off. You think, wow, this is amazing, this is so much better. And you look at the original restaurant and think, I don't think I can go back there. Hello guys, and welcome back to Car Obsession. I'm really sorry that I didn't bring you a video yesterday. Basically, I had an absolute nightmare both yesterday and today. I don't know what it is when I've tried to film this video, but things keep going wrong, and this is attempt number 7. I'm not going to bore you with the details of what's been going wrong, as I'm just going to digress into a rant, but for whatever reason, this video just keeps going wrong and things don't go to plan. So I do apologise for not bringing you a video last night. Hopefully this will be the one that I actually use and will upload today. But yes, things have been very stressful my end. That aside, as you may know, I ended my Vlogdown series as I felt that the Vlogdown name was losing its relevance now that the lockdown has been eased a little bit in the UK, more particularly so in England, and I thought now was a good time to move on. However, there were quite a lot of you that enjoyed that format of video and wanted me to continue it in some kind of capacity. So this is what this is really. So the name I've come up with is The Pit Stop, and I quite like that name, although I am open to suggestions and ideas from you guys. The reason why I've chosen The Pit Stop is because these videos will be a break from my normal content when I'm driving out and about. So this area is kind of like my pit lane. I can come in, update you guys on what's been going on in my world, talk through car news, and just talk about any other things that I want to. And the other reason why I've called it The Pit Stop is because think of Car Obsession as a vehicle. I am the driver, but you guys are my supporters. You guys are my pit crew. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And that's why I quite like the name. And because normally I would film this on a Sunday, I could call it Pit Stop Sunday. And that's got quite a nice ring to it. I plan to do these videos at the end of each week. Although some of you may think that's too often, I'm not too sure. There was one viewer who recommended doing this kind of video once a month or perhaps bi-weekly, but I'd quite like to do them at the end of each week. That way I can kind of give you an update on what's been going on in my week, talk through some car news, and I think it's just a good way to finish the week. Of course, I will still be uploading my car videos on the Wednesday at 6 p.m. and I may start when I start going out to film more videos, I may start doing car videos on a Friday at 6 p.m. as well. So I'll have 3 uploads per week, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday at 6 p.m. But of course Sunday, for the time being, unless things change, will be dedicated to these kind of videos. I wanted to kick off this series with some big announcements, and I do have some big things in the pipeline, but sadly there are things I can't speak about just yet because the time isn't quite right. And there are some things that should have happened by now, but haven't. I know that sounds very ominous and ambiguous, but things will become clear in time. I should have all of my announcements out of the way by early July, so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, I can bring you some news in the shape of what cars I'm going to be reviewing over the next weeks / months. Sorry, I just want to make sure I haven't got any cat fur in my beard, because that's one thing that keeps happening. I'm really paranoid I've just got fur or fluff stuck in my hair. Sorry. It's been a very long day. It's not even 1 o'clock yet. So, as you may know, I had the Ford Puma booked in, which was postponed, and I also had the Vauxhall Corsa and the Peugeot 208 booked in. Again, they were postponed. So of course I've contacted Ford and the PSA group in regard to getting those cars rebooked in, but as you can imagine, both companies are very busy at the moment, so they have encouraged me to get back in touch towards the end of June. Some of you may remember that I had an Isuzu D-Max booked in as well. In fact, that would have gone back today if I had accepted the loan, but I cancelled that one because I just felt it was a bit too soon to be doing car reviews. And also I had some rather lofty, ambitious ideas with the D-Max. I wanted to take it into the outdoors, go exploring, and I had this crazy idea of like pitching a tent in the pickup bed and making it like my own kind of camper home, camper van sort of thing. But obviously those are things I can't do right now. So I thought actually probably a good time to cancel the D-Max for the time being. And also, if you don't know the D-Max, it's an outdoorsy, rugged pickup truck. And I think when you've got lovely sunny weather like we have today on the south coast of England, it's not really going to highlight the D-Max's strengths. Really, you want dreary, drizzly, wet, damp conditions where you want it to look really good off-road. So the D-Max will get rebooked in. I'm just not sure when. In regard to the cars I do have booked in, so I've secured 2 cars. So I actually spent last Thursday, I spent all morning just sending emails left, right and centre to manufacturers in regard to getting cars booked in to test and review. And the first one I booked in was quite a surprising one, and one that I hadn't really anticipated. That's because it is another Caterham. Regular viewers will know that I've done quite a bit of work with Caterham, and they have been a fantastic brand to work with. So I'm really delighted that I will have another one of their models to try. So the model in question is the newest one. It is I say the newest, you look at it and think, no, that's a classic car, it's years old, but that's the point. It is retro themed, much like the rest of the Caterham range, but it is called the Super 7 1600. And at first I thought it was kind of a replacement for the 716S, which used to be the base model. Some of you may remember that was the very first Caterham I reviewed on the channel, and it was my first taste of what a Caterham can offer. But no, when you look at the price of the Super 7 1600, it actually sits above the 7270, and it also has the same engine. It has a 1.6 litre naturally aspirated Ford Sigma engine. The engine offers 135 brake horsepower, and it will hit 60 miles per hour in just 5 seconds, which of course isn't the fastest Caterham money can buy, but I'm sure you will agree that isn't exactly what you call slow. I've got that booked in between the 14th and 17th of August, so I've got it over a weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully the weather stays as glorious as it is today. Very nice indeed. I look forward to going out for my daily walk. And the second car I've got booked in, well, I should really say the second brand, because I haven't actually got a car confirmed as of yet. But I will be working with Hyundai, which will be a first. Of course, I've done work with Hyundai before, but they were at press events where I only had the opportunity to drive one of their models for a limited amount of time, about 20 or 30 minutes. But thankfully, because my i30N and Kona electric videos did really well, Hyundai are now in a position they can give me a car. So they've given me the choice of either the i10 or the Ioniq. I'm yet to fully decide, but I think I will probably go with the i10. The reason being is because it is a newer car. It is a city car, which I've done quite a few on my channel, so I think I'll have a better demographic for it. And the Ioniq has been on the market for quite some time. I'm just a little bit wary that it may not get as much attention as the i10. And let's face it, I haven't done that many electric cars, so my knowledge on that area isn't that strong. So I think for the benefit of this being my first car that I've had for a week from Hyundai, I want to play things safe a bit, and I think the i10 is the way to go. So I'll probably get the i10 booked in. Hopefully, I'd like to get it booked in for July, probably the second half of July, but it all depends on when Hyundai have the availability. Because as you can imagine, because the big dogs like Autocar, Auto Express, What Car, Evo, name any big motoring publication, and Car Wow as well, of course, on YouTube. As you can imagine, there's quite a backlog of cars to be sent out, and those kind of publications, those type of publications will take priority compared to someone like myself, which is fully understandable. So I've got those booked in. Well, the Hyundai will get booked in at some point. So that's a little bit of an update for you. When I have more updates in regards to cars that I will be reviewing, I will of course let you know. And that brings me on to car news. So one thing that's been quite a big talking point over the last few days is the Aston Martin Vantage. Of course, that car's been out for quite some time now. And when it first came out, there was much to be said about the front end. The design was quite controversial and quite divisive. For what it's worth, I liked the look of the Vantage. It was radical, but I thought it looked pretty smart. So last week, I kept stumbling on headlines which had stated that the Aston Martin Vantage had been fixed. And I thought, what do you mean fixed? What was wrong with it? And after doing a bit of digging, I found this company. In fact, I've got the car on my screen here, which you may not see, but I will, of course, dub in some photos into this video. And that is a British company by the name of Relevance Automotive. What they have done is they've taken the Vantage design and made it look more like your typical traditional Aston Martin. And at first I looked at the design and I thought, I'm not too sure. It looked okay, but I think I'd prefer the original. However, when you actually see what Relevance have done compared to the original, when you get them side by side, or in this case top and bottom, well, I don't know about you, but I look at the Relevance version and I think actually that looks so much better. That's how the Vantage should have come off the factory line. And although I still like the original design of the Vantage, I can't deny that Relevance has made it better. And normally I wouldn't be a massive fan of this kind of thing, particularly in Aston Martin, which they've been known for making some beautiful, elegant cars over the years. So for a company to come along and think they can do better than Aston Martin, it almost screams sacrilege. For a company to come along and have the view of, oh no, we can do what you do better. There's almost a certain amount of maybe not so much arrogance, but you think, whoa, who do you think you are to come along and tell Aston Martin how to do their job? However, on this occasion, I think Relevance Automotive have absolutely hit the ball out the park, because this looks so good. And to be honest, when you look at this, you wouldn't think that this is an aftermarket option. You would just think, oh, that's an Aston Martin. It is very pretty. It is very elegant. So that does get a thumbs up from me. In regard to how much this redesigned front end will cost you, I don't know, because on their website, there is no mention of prices and you have to inquire now. It's one of those price on application kind of format thingamabobs. No doubt this would be quite an expensive option, and you can either have the bumper in lightweight composite, or if you're feeling a bit more extravagant, you can have it made out of carbon fibre, which will probably cost you God knows how much more. So what do you think of this, guys? Do you think this is better or sacrilege? I think this is better, and I think Relevance Automotive have actually done a very good job. That's not to say that I think the original is ugly, but the way how I see it is this. Think of it as going to the same restaurant for years, you like the food, you like the service, but all of a sudden a friend of yours introduces you to a new restaurant, you go there, it blows your socks off, you think, wow, this is amazing, this is so much better. And you look at the original restaurant and think, I don't think I can go back there. I know it's a really mad metaphor, but hopefully you get what I mean. Now I see this version of the Vantage, it is a little bit difficult to look at the old one, if you can catch my drift. So that's a bit of car news discussed. What I would like to do to finish off is to go through some of my favourite comments on YouTube over the last week. So I've picked out 5 that I want to highlight. The first of which is from Ian O'Shea. He has commented on my throwback review that I filmed with Monique, my Mark 1 Mazda MX-5. He has put, "Thanks as always for sharing your car obsessions from a fellow MX-5 enthusiast." So thank you, Ian, for watching, and thank you so much for commenting. It's always great to get the feedback from fellow MX-5 owners. So thank you very much for that. Next one we have is from Daniel Thomas, who commented on the same video. He has put, "Excellent review, dude. Never sell my Mark 1. Looking at a Boxster at the moment because I've always wanted a Boxster. Because I've always wanted a Porsche, but the MX-5 will always have pride of place in my garage." I've actually driven a Boxster, and it wasn't my cup of tea. There wasn't anything wrong with the car, but believe it or not, compared to an MX-5, I find the cabin of a Boxster more cramped. And for what it's worth, this wasn't a brand new Boxster. This was quite an old one. Don't ask me about the model code because I'm not a massive aficionado when it comes to Porsches. But I just found that the steering wheel wouldn't come up high enough. Therefore, my legs didn't have a lot of space, and it was quite difficult to access the brake pedal, which is obviously not a good thing. So I've driven an older Boxster, and I wasn't a big fan just because the seating position just didn't suit my height whatsoever. I'm 6'2", and I just felt too big for the car. I felt like I was kind of sat on it as opposed to in it, whereas an MX-5 is, believe it or not, offers a bit more space. Well, at least for me anyway. Next comment we have is also on the throwback review. As you can see, I had quite a few positive comments on there, and this time it's from a fellow YouTuber by the name of Carbor. If you like your MX-5s, particularly your Mark 1 MX-5s, I would thoroughly recommend that you head over to his channel. The channel is still quite young, but he's done a few videos, and I like his videos. I like his presentation. I like the humour that he injects into his videos, so I would definitely be keeping track of his progress, but do check him out. And he's commented with, "I adore my Mark 1, nothing like it for smiles per mile, great review," and then the clapping emoji. So thank you, Carbor, thank you very much. That leaves two more comments, one of which is from, you'd have to bear with me on the pronunciation because I think this is German. I need to find it first. And, oh, I'm struggling. Where's the comment? I know which video it's for. It's for my Kia Exceed. Here we go. So the username is Alf Brecken. I've probably done a really awful job. But he or she has put, "Best review ever for the Exceed, thanks." So that was on my Kia Exceed review. It's always great to get feedback like that, because one of the reasons why I started Car Obsession was to do car reviews that would help people make an informed decision when buying a car. And I've had numerous comments where people have said, "I've watched your video, and because of your video I went out and bought this car and I really like it." And that's great to hear. When I get that kind of feedback, that is arguably the best feedback I can get, because if what I say about a car, if my opinions lead someone to buy the car and they're happy, that's a great feeling. It really is, because that way I'm actually helping people as opposed to just making car content for YouTube. And making car content is fantastic, although this video in particular has been a nightmare to film. But yeah, that aside, these kind of comments I really appreciate. And the last one is a similar kind of comment. This time it is from Mark's Travels, and it is on my review of the Seat Tarraco. And he has put, "I've just leased this colour/trim with the 1.5 litre petrol. Thank you so much for an informative review." So again, that is fantastic feedback. And I always try and make sure that I put as much detail into my reviews as possible. Yes, that does mean that they are quite long videos, and one could argue that I could probably make a video that's half the length, and it would still be it would still have enough information for most buyers. But I do try and look at every angle and cover everything where possible. I'd rather have a video that is longer than average but have more detail in it, as opposed to making a video which is half the length but may not be quite as informative. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for watching this video. I think this is now a good time for me to end. Hopefully there'll be no more hiccups. I can get this video uploaded to YouTube and then find a dark room just to scream for half an hour, because making this video, I don't know why, it has been really stressful. But thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment if you want to. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. If there are any if there are any topics you would like me to cover in these kind of videos, or if you have any feedback whatsoever in regard to how often I should do them, the name or things I should cover, please do get in touch. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.